Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Josh or Bones. I forget which podcast this is. No, and this is Cursed. And today I have a special guest on, Robin Valentine, which I was like,
Hello.
and I was like, oh, it is Valentine, right? Like, it's not like,
Yeah, like the holiday. That's what I tell people when I make appointments on the phone.
nice. And we're here to talk about, you've got a book coming up, you've got a blog and stuff, but I'll let you kind of introduce yourself and then just fill in the listeners that don't know.
I am the face, the annoying voice, whatever you want to call me, behind Tired Witch, which is a blog. I also am the literal voice behind a podcast called Coffee and Cauldrons. And I wrote a whole book called Magical Tarot, which is coming out on May 18th. They pushed it back a week. I have to remember that.
Yeah, because that's when this comes out, it'll be like a month away. So get excited, pre-order that.
Yeah, it's out for pre-order basically everywhere where books are sold now, which I'm really excited about. Even Target. I found out it's going to be on Target, which I know that's so stupid, but like my basic ass white girl is like, it's going to be at Target.
Yeah, and you're like, that's where you should get it. Get your Starbucks and all your Target shit, and make sure to pick it up there.
Go buy yourself some unnecessary home goods and also my book.
I don't feel like that's a lot of pagan authors today can't necessarily brag about that, right?
I don't know. You know, I mean, I don't want to like make that judgment. But I would say that I know that I've never seen many of those books. Usually it's like the Jesus stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just saying I'm going to be in Target, bitches. Like,
yeah, it's usually the Jesus books. I know they usually have like a whole, like, you know, what's that book? Are You There, God? It's Me.
Yeah.
It's like that section.
Are you
and
there?
then there's going to be my book where it's like incorporating tarot with witchcraft.
Yeah, and they're going to be like, this sounds fun. And they're going to be like, oh no, who am I reading?
Why is this in the religious section?
Yeah. But I mean, white bitches like Target. And
I'm a white bitch. I love Target. So
me too. Your podcast is, like you said, Coffee and Cauldrons.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of do like a little bit of everything. So it's cool to actually have.
I'm constantly, I feel like I'm always working. I feel like I'm always doing something.
Which is why you're tired.
Yeah, which is why I'm tired. Thus the name. And then in my life, like in my day life, I'm a professional tarot reader. That's like my day job.
So you kind of know what you're talking about.
I would hope so. Yeah, that's what I do for a living. That's my day job. I have it both in Tired Witch has a shop aspect of it. And then I also work like through services as a hotline psychic. But I don't advertise as psychic, just so everybody's clear. I'm not a medium. I'm a tarot reader. It's very different.
Yeah. You haven't seen your commercials on like Between the Price is Right and shit. Like,
I have actually. I've also seen my commercial come up. My jobs commercials come up on YouTube in between, and it's always like, is he cheating on me? And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so secondhand embarrassing.
I didn't even know you had commercials. That's amazing.
We literally do. And they're so corny. Like, they're so bad.
They have to be. Like, I feel like that has to be like the old school, like 3 a.m., like call me now.
They're really bad. And they had done or wanted to do a campaign 3-ish years ago, I want to say. One of my job places wanted to do one, and they asked me if I would do it, like if I would be on this commercial, and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I will not do that. They're like, why? I was like, listen, I am not a public figure, but I'm enough of a public figure that I hate the idea of that.
But also, how much does it pay?
How much? I set my own rates. So, for example, on a holiday like Christmas, for example, where if I'm choosing to work on one of like, you know, the quote biggest holidays of the year, I'll set my rates to like $12 a minute. Like, if you really need to talk to me that badly on a holiday, then I'm going to get holiday hour pay.
First off, I need to know if Jesus is actually coming back, or
the answer is yes.
Oh, okay, good. And then is Santa real?
Also, yes.
Knew it.
They're the same person, actually.
I fucking knew it. I knew it. Why would they share the same birthday? You know what I mean? Like,
Listen, they're just two sexy guys with long hair, trying to spread some joy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's the long hair and beards. As somebody with those things, I can confirm that this is all true.
This is all true. These I didn't make this up. These are all straight facts.
Yes, as straight as we can make them. But as far as the commercials, like, yeah, if you want to run, I don't even have. I'm like, we're just trying to start this like whole thing where it's like, let's add sponsors, but not like. I mean, I'll plug a mattress. Like, I'll do a good job at it.
I'll plug a mattress. I'm plugging a vibrator on my Instagram in like 2 days.
Well, fuck, I'll plug those too. Plug
Hell
all
yeah.
of them. With
why not? I did a whole podcast episode about not having sex with crystals because it's not safe.
Well,
and so I was like, easy transition. I can do this, no problem.
Well, I think on the last episode I said because I was talking to the Witch and Kitchen podcast with Britt, and she talked about early on burning something with like pepper in it, and it like injuring her, like,
and I was like, ruined her entire nasal cavity. Yes. Probably.
And I'm like, if you're not hurting yourself as a witch and things that you try, are you even a witch? And so if you decide to fuck a crystal, like, you got to learn that lesson at least
you have to learn that lesson. I think on our podcast, probably every other episode, I have to be like, please don't burn your house down, guys. Please don't.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game. Witchcraft is not safe.
It's really not.
No. There's people out here burning pepper and putting amethyst in their butts. So,
oh God,
dangerous.
All I have to say is, if you want to have sex with a crystal or whatever, do it. But also get a really good gynecologist if you're, somebody with female anatomy. And if you're somebody who's not, make sure that doctor really gets in there for that prostate exam, because.
And there's somebody listening to this whose name is Crystal, and they're like, oh.
Hey now.
But yeah, so yeah, Target's gonna love this. But as far as
Target's like, I do not consent to be on this podcast.
Right. So I understand that your tarot book is not just a normal tarot book, and as somebody who reads tarot often but still has problems memorizing, like, I know, like, when a card comes up, I'm like, ooh, that's a bad one. But right. I don't necessarily, I always have to like go to references, or I'm doing better about like my intuition, but I'm also the person who likes to specifically for the certain deck I have per the artist, I like to see their interpretation and stuff. But
totally.
Your book is you, like you said, niched in a way because it's not your normal tarot book, right?
Mm-hmm. So my personal philosophy is actually that you shouldn't be memorizing tarot cards. I think that's almost every newer reader's downfall, because as soon as you start memorizing things, then, think about when you were in high school, right? And you had to memorize the periodic table of contents. Can you literally tell me more than 10 of them now off the top of your head?
10?
Well, yeah, okay, exactly. That's impossible. When you memorize things, you retain it typically for a very short period of time, and then you're always going to have to be like re-referencing stuff. So my book is instead directing you to looking at symbolism within the cards and kind of what that means. Because if we understand the basic symbolism in numerology, in colors, in actual like images that come up in the cards, etc., it becomes a lot easier to remember what the cards mean, because we have that basic foundation that even if, let's say, you can't remember that the Fool is about starting a new journey, right? You can look at the card and be like, okay, so he's got a knapsack, the background is yellow, the number is 0, like, what do these things mean? Oh, right, it's probably about, new journeys, starting over, etc. So my book takes like a deep dive into that symbolism, and then basically tells you or teaches you, shows you how that that symbolism, all that meaning, etc., can be then redirected as a ritual tool in magic, because witchcraft is nothing but symbolism. Like a wand isn't actually, or necessarily, I should say, you know, this powerful tool in and of itself. It's about the symbolism that's behind it. You can use a literal stick you found in the yard as a wand, and that's no more or less powerful than something that was handcrafted out of mahogany.
But mine has a unicorn fur core.
Love that for you.
No, so glad that you've got that. But no, I love that approach because I found myself, and I don't want to get canceled, but nobody's gonna cancel me because they don't even listen. Canceled. But like in the beginning, it's like you're the tool, and I'm still like the biggest person of that. But I'm also like,
correct. I am.
I feel like there's two black and white. Like I'm not saying that ignore from like, especially because I do things from like an animist point of view. Like I'm not saying that this plant doesn't matter and it, you know, you can just use whatever. But when it comes to something like tarot, that's a very interesting. Please don't play with that, Floki. That's a very the noisiest thing I can find. But it's like, that's an interesting way to put it, because I, for one, put a lot of this pressure on myself. Like, I don't know how to read tarot because I don't fucking have this memorized, but all I do is just go off like what I feel, and I use my familiar and different stuff. But yeah, I think it's a very personal thing, and symbolism and all that shit is going to be personalized to you. So I feel like, hell, there's probably even cards that you get routinely that might never mean that to anybody in the entire
100%
world. I mean, but to you, you know what that means, and it doesn't matter that
we talk about this on my own podcast a lot, because we have a tarot section on the podcast. Ours is very segmented and not as free flowy, because I like structure. It's back to that entire thing. If I don't have structure, I will die. But in our podcast, we talk about that a lot, and we'll talk about a card a week. And Maria, my co-host, will give her interpretation, but then I give mine. And almost every time we have similar meanings, but they are different. And it's because of personal correspondence and personal, you know, experiences, etc. It's when our intuition comes into play so heavily. And the foundation here is I want people to think a little bit more than the surface value. You know, we've got all these courses you can take that are out there that I'm sure they're amazing. I'm no shade to anybody who teaches a course. I couldn't do it. Sounds very difficult and very time consuming. But there's all these courses out there, and a lot of the feedback I've heard from people is that some of the more affordable ones, we're going to call it, are just memorizing the Rider-Waite-Smith, and then you get a little certificate at the end that says, I did it.
Hooray.
And
now go out there. Now go create that social media page. And
and that's
take people's money.
Oh God. So, you know, tell people that you've been working as a tarot reader for 1 week. So I know my value. This 3 card spread will be $50, and it's like,
but you also know that I'm also a Reiki master, so
everybody is a Reiki master these days. It feels like I'm not.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I feel like everybody else.
I feel like you're bringing down your value in real time.
Honestly, I am. I'm so sorry, guys. Everybody listening to this, my value is worth 3 pennies and a button. Thank you.
Yes, a shiny object that you found. But that's what's weird, is because like I when I read tarot, I trust what I get for myself and for others. Yeah. And sometimes I'll look at like, because I'll Google like, or look at the reference book to get a feel, but then I just kind of like throw that out and like, well, that's not what I'm feeling on this. But I do think there's something to be said about learning kind of like the feel, but then you shouldn't override your intuition.
100%.
To me, it changes. I have a deck. The Threads of Fate has been my favorite so far, and I just always go to it, and it's very like fucking on the point. Like it's me. You know, these decks take on like a life and personality of their own, and it's like, okay, this one is like no nonsense, but it's not so, but then I have the Marigold tarot, which I've
Fuck that
which
deck.
is which is always like, God damn, that hurt. But I
Yeah,
mean, I
okay.
believe
I
you.
am every single human I've ever spoken to who has the Marigold Tarot deck. They're like, this deck is bullying me. Actually, this is a mean deck. I was very graciously gifted. Well, I was given one from my mother for Christmas, the first printing of it.
Mhm.
And then the Amrit Brar sent me the newest edition, and I obviously already had it, so I gifted it to one of our Patreon members in a witch swap thing that we do.
Mhm.
But I was just like, I can't actually emotionally handle having two of these decks in my house. Somebody get this away from me. Is it beautiful? Absolutely. It's a stunning deck. And I do like it, but sometimes I'm not emotionally
Prepared.
prepared, yeah, for like how mean it can be to me.
Well, like, I mean, and I'll do people like, I'll have somebody read, and it's kind of like, or I'll have a friend, and we just like, they'll come over, and it's like, well, let's pull cards for each other. And it's all in the idea of, and it's like, oh, this one's gonna fucking make you like hurt.
Yeah.
But then the other one is like the Threads of Fate. I have the and I forget which one it is, but it's the black one with like, the iridescent like kind of foil print, and
Oh yeah.
it's very like to the point, but then it always
So
like,
pretty.
to me it's kind of like, it gives me this like I understand it like as this living thing. Like I can, when it shows me something, I'm like, oh, I got you. And so is the
Yeah.
Marigold. The only one that I have, and when I first started practicing and decided to get into tarot, I had no idea that the Wild Unknown was like that deck. And I was just like, oh, this is pretty. And then I'm like, wait, why is it an Urban Outfit? Okay. And then I'm like, this is my hipster deck. And
Yeah.
but
I don't
love,
own that deck.
huh?
It's one of the only like popular decks that I don't own.
And I mean, it's like, I have it and I like the art, but I have never ever, and this is no offense to anybody who loves it, who connects to it, or the artist, it feels lifeless to me. And it's like, I used it to kind of play with and like learn. But then like the next deck I got was I think the Marigolds. It was gifted to me.
Mhm.
And then I was like, God damn, is this like, that's a big jump, I feel like, to go from your Target deck, which is probably in Target now, to like the Marigold with gilded edges. And it's really pretty to cry over. But no, it's
so
a great
beautiful.
deck.
The Marigold deck is absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite decks to look at. Like sometimes I have one or two decks. Just one or two. If my husband's listening to this, mind your business.
Mind your business.
I have a lot of decks. He cleared out our house. He was organizing stuff, and he just sent me a number, and it was something like 87. And I was like, what is? And he was like, guess. And I was like, I don't know, like Q-tips, because our cat likes to play with Q-tips, and like we'll get them all over the house.
Your ties, Q-tips.
Yeah, he's like, no. I was like, bobby pins? He's like, no. I was like, is it tarot decks? And he was like, it is tarot decks, and there's at least 50 in storage. And I was like, you know what? Why don't you mind your business?
First off, that's a professional, not only curiosity, but I'm sorry,
but these are all tax write-offs. What do you want from me?
And my newest deck, and I don't have a ton, but like, I guess you do fall into that hole of like, well, I like this, is like the Cryptid Tarot, and it's by like this, I forget the name.
I know that one.
And it's just, every card is a cryptid, and some of them I've never even fucking heard of. And it's on Etsy. I'll have to send you the link. And
you're gonna have to, because that sounds 100% up my alley.
Right. Like the tower, like just to paint a picture, the tower is the Mothman on a bridge that's like collapsing. I'm like, that's perfect.
Listen, this is how much I love cryptozoology stuff. Okay. I'm having a baby. I am with child. And our nursery theme is cryptozoology.
I thought you were gonna say like, I named it.
So our baby's actually named Mothman.
Yes.
No, we've got like a Mothman plushie, the what are those things called? The mobile.
Mhm.
is the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh,
All of our baby books are like Sasquatch and stuff like that. So
yeah, this baby's gonna be awesome.
yeah, our baby's gonna be so cool. Everybody's gonna be so jealous and also very afraid of them because I have more personality than anybody ever needs. So does my husband. This child is actually going to either be like so quiet to be the opposite of us or like the most terrifying thing you've ever seen.
Oh shit, it
No in
is the
between.
Jersey Devil. Like we've birthed,
Literally.
but that's cool. I'll take it. And you'll probably need braces and shit because you know those fangs. It's like it's a whole thing. But
It's a burden and a curse.
yes, but yeah, it's a cool deck, and I bought it for the imagery, and somebody I knew had it, and we're like, oh my god, this is so cool, and I we used it for our Patreon readings, and for like our 10 and up, they get the readings, and it as something like right out of the box that that I have not really connected with, except I looked through every one of them and was like, holy shit, wait, which one is this one? And it still worked. So I'm still like, well, I feel like I have this gift. No, I feel like I'm still connecting to this like overall like energy, and I rely heavily on my familiar to pull out knowledge that I don't have. But it was cool to have that. So that's like kind of the fun deck, and it's kind of like it's I don't even know how to describe it, but it's kind of like I don't know. I'll send you a picture, but it's great. And it's one of those, and I'm like, okay, well, I just can't imagine that I would ever need any more tarot decks, but I'll probably get more.
Yeah, me too.
I always feel
again, if my husband's listening to this, don't.
But I still, it's one of those things where it's like if I talk about tarot or if I'm like gonna do this, I don't like for the patrons, like they donate money. We'll call it donations, but they're essentially paying for a read at the a forecast of the next month. And that's all fine and well, but there's such an imposter syndrome, and yet all the replies are always like, this is spot on, I can't believe. And it's like, I'm just going to keep doing it. But for me, they've never been like wrong, like for my own personal self. And I'm like, God damn, it's so spot on. So I feel like I'm not giving myself enough credit for reading it. So I'm very interested in your book because I feel like the way you described it, that's going to point me to like how I interact with it is not memorizing this shit,
so.
but like learning stuff. I'll go to my nearest Target and get it. I swear.
I hope so. I hope that's what I'm hoping for people. That's what I'm hoping they get out of it, because that was what I wanted to do. It is a book that is only focusing on the major arcana, because if I didn't, it was going to be like 800 pages long. And for my first book, that sounded very scary and intimidating.
Right. Let's start with the ace.
Yeah. So it's just the majors, but I feel like there's enough information there that you can then go on and apply what you've learned in that book to the minors, because I talk about things like elements and like the suits and kind of how these things symbolically work out and etc. So I'm hoping that's what people get out of it, but of course you talk about imposter syndrome. I'm like terrified of my book coming out. I'm not actually terrified, like I'm excited, but I'm also very nervous.
Yes, I would imagine so. Like that's a big deal. And is this your first book?
It's my first book. Yeah. I'm quietly working on a second one.
Yes, I've got 4 more book deals, and it deals with every suit because
each individual suit. You're welcome. No, I'm working on a second one, but it's going to be a little different. So that's why it's quietly, because I haven't fully decided on its chapter outline. I've changed it like 20 times.
But that's like, so for instance, like the Threads of Fate tarot, I know the death card has like 2 snake skeletons, and I've received that, and it's been along with all these other synchronicities and crazy shit. I'm not going to talk about Hellier, I swear to God, I'm not going to do it. But it's like, okay, well, this card doesn't mean as much as like the description per se would, but however, the snakes are very relevant to me, and this one sentence or this one like notion or feeling of what it's supposed to represent is towards me. So that doesn't mean that that card is only going to ever represent that. But at the time,
Totally.
yeah, it totally meant that. And like, I guess I don't know. That's the feeling I've always had is like, well, I don't know what I can't put this card down, but I'm also not out here charging people like for readings. And I would never do that because I don't trust myself enough. But I also need to give myself, I guess, a little bit more credit on just like being
yeah, you totally should. Listen, I do readings all day, every single day. It's my job. It's my career, right? The thing is you're never going to be, in my opinion, 100% perfect for every single person. Sometimes you just don't connect with people, and that's a real reality in that. And I probably once or twice a week tell clients, you know what, we're not connecting here. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your money. Like, have a great day. Because it does happen. We're still human beings at the end of the day. Like tarot readers, witches, whatever, we're not gods. And you're
not yet.
Even as a professional, you're going to slip up sometimes. And there's no shame in admitting that, hey, this isn't working with me, but I bet you're going to find a reader who is much better for you. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Go find them.
Well, the crazy thing is there's, you know, how many cards and what are the odds that you would, I think right now our patron tier for the $10, we just read them yesterday, which is why it's like in my brain. We did it in the cemetery. Like every month.
It's like the most goth thing that anybody's ever said, but continue.
Right.
Wow, what a nice cemetery. Let's read our tarot in here.
Yeah. And my thing was like every month, and like me and Tamara will alternate reading because we're both wanting to be a little bit better at it. And I hope people trust me and my demon familiar. And then I've always had these like great readings from the co-host of Hex Files, Tamara, and so I've combined them because I cannot run 2 Patreons. I cannot. I shouldn't even started 2 social medias for each podcast because now I have them, and I'm like, God damn it! But
yeah, I've got 2 for one for Tired Witch and one for Coffee and Cauldrons, and I'm just like, this is a lot.
Yes, but I'm like, so there's these cards will come up, and it's, to me, it's insane because, and I'm not going to name anybody that's like in there, but you'll see, you get this thread of messages because we send them through Patreon, and it'll be this card and it's like, oh, and then you look and the last month's forecast was like either in the same suit. It sometimes is the same goddamn card. It's like, there must be a message you are not getting. And then other times in the same, like, and we shuffle between everybody, and of course, and sometimes we pull from the top, sometimes the cards jump out, of course, and there'll be like 2 or 3, sometimes 4 times the same card, whether it's reversed or not, will pop up for the same people for the same month. And I feel like that's almost like a collective kind of like energy that, or some shit that's happening. But I'm like, you can't tell me that there's not something going on that doesn't even care that we don't have these cards memorized. Like there's something going on that is you know, you can't really measure it, but it's just it's crazy. Like there's one person and I feel so bad for them because every time it's like their cards are so like fucking like grief, loss, and all this, and we send a message, it doesn't matter who's reading it, it doesn't matter what deck we use, it's always related. And they're like, yeah, I know exactly what it's talking about. And it's not as bad as you think. But, and it's like, okay, sometimes I feel guilty, like typing this out. I'm like, how can I soften this? I'm like, I don't think I can. I'm just going to have to say it. Like,
I'll do Skype readings sometimes. And I had a reading once with actually one of my Patreon members that was Skype. So we're face to face, right? Well, computer to computer, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And we were specifically talking about a connection in their life, and straight up, right, I was like, made this face like, oh shit. And but I was trying to think of how to word it in a way that was like, you know, killing them softly with bad news. Yes. And she just goes, just say it. Your face says it all. Just get it out. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was trying to think of how to word this because it's not good.
Right. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's like, no, it's not fine. I can tell.
This is better actually. This is better actually than if this wasn't the card. So this is an improvement, if anything.
Right. And I've like for myself personally, I've gotten to the point, and this might sound basic, but I mean, I've not covered tarot really on this podcast before. So you're christening it. But
Oh,
like
I'm
I'm
popping your tarot cherry. I love
yeah,
that.
somebody had to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, now I get shit like I've done it for however many years now, and it's like, oh, the tower, okay, I know exactly, or the devil, and those like key ones that people are scared of, and then I'll pull like the three of swords. I'm like, oh god, this is the worst card in the deck. I fucking know it is. It's just,
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
or I'll pull it for somebody, and it's like, oh god, and then I always like yesterday somebody got the tower, and it was like, oh, and I was like, I promise you, there's worse cards to get. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They're in here.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy to have people that actually are patrons and I read tarot for, they read tarot themselves. And, it's like, why do you want me to do this? But then I'm like, in my own life, I'm like, well, there's something about having somebody else do it for you and doing it yourself.
It's easy,
I feel like
it's easy to have bias in our own readings for ourselves because we want that positive, or at least like silver lining, I guess.
Right. Yeah, that kind of leads me into the question I wanted to ask you, talking about how the people too, that's one of them I had floating in my brain because I don't write these down, is when you read your own tarot, like, do you like kind of avoid it? Is it a daily practice, or is it something that you like have somebody do for you? Like, how do you go about that?
It is a daily practice for me. So it is actually part of my own like daily ritual. Like I'll sit at my altar every single morning and I have my ritual where I like refresh my coffee on my altar and I light, offering candles, incense, the whole shebang, right? And at that time, then I pull a card, and it's usually, I know people say things like, oh, pull a card for the day, but I don't. I just pull one and I see what happens. You know what I mean? I keep it very open for messages, etc. And then when it comes to major life things, because we have bias, I will not read for myself. Just because I know me and I know that I am somebody who, when it comes to me, I'll be like, no, it's the tower. It means that I'm going to have something really good happen, but it's going to be hard. And it's like, no, bitch, that's not what this means.
Yeah. It's like, I know this bitch. She's not going to give me a good reading. She's going to soften it for me.
So I have actually like 2 people I trust to read for me on stuff that I worry about bias for myself on. And I just present them with, can you look at this for me? And then I listen to what they have to say. And then oftentimes I will then pull a couple cards to clarify maybe what they have
You're
seen.
Like, no, I knew they were wrong. That was a bad reading.
No, it's not like I knew they were wrong. It's more like I know me better. So let's say like hypothetically, yeah, it's a confirmation. And also like, okay, so this is what's going on. So let's pull a little bit more there on some guidance and advice, let's say, that maybe they didn't pull on. So it's an acknowledgement of what they have pulled and an acceptance of that, and then kind of looking a little further for guidance.
I think that's a fair way to do it, because then that initial blow, like you get that set first, and then you can say, well, I can like micro like look at this and figure out the rest for myself, but I didn't lead myself down a very safe biased path by telling myself that everything's great, and this is fine, like and then you can pick apart like the little things of like, or like hone in maybe on what the message is, because I feel like I don't know how you, but I feel like between the different, whether it's deity or spirits or ancestors, whatever is around you, the energy you're tapped in, your higher self, subconscious, whatever you want to call it, like is going to be there to kind of help interpret and unfold in your intuition and all that. But
yeah, 100%. I mean, I really just think that sometimes you need to have that other person to give you the bad news, and then from there you can be like, okay, this is how it is, so where do we go from here? And that's, I don't know, that's my approach on it.
Well, I know myself, I would justify, I'd be like, it could be
me too.
It could be the worst read ever, and I'm like, this is not bad. This is good. This is actually good.
This is better, if anything. This is very good. Good job, Robin. Claps for me.
Right.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. So by impending doom, what you really meant was.
Yeah. So by saying that this is all going to crash and burn, what you meant is I'm getting a fresh start. That's amazing.
Love it. I'm good at this. I love myself.
Yeah, that is my like biggest issue, and that's why I get readings from other people, and actually like sometimes if I'm too emotional about things with like spell work, I will ask a friend to like do it for me, because I'm like, I'm too emotional and not in a good way that's going to add anything to this positively. So could you do this for me? Because I know that if I am involved, I'll be too emotionally volatile, and that could change things.
Yeah, and please do it with the cryptid tarot, because I want to see the cute little cryptid and pretend that this is not real.
I need it. You have to send me the link of it.
I will.
Again, if my husband is listening, no, you're not.
Right. If it's tax write-off, don't worry about it. It's
fine. It was sent to me for promotion. It's fine. It's for review. It's fine. Like, I don't know what you want from me here.
And so with the cards, I don't want to ask like, or in regards to your book or something, like what, and I guess it seems simple, but what is your favorite card? Not in like a, oh my God, what's your favorite color? But like, what's
my
a card
favorite color is pink.
Is there a certain card that's like you're particularly like in tune with, that maybe transcends like any kind of normal idea or thinking of tarot, and it just like, it's so reoccurring kind of thing that it's like a, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Got it. Check. Like you see this thing over and over.
Yes. Yes and no, I guess. I mean, I think that it really depends on who you're talking to, right? But like for a lot of the cards for me that I have found for other people, become humbling cards instead of like inspirational cards, if that makes sense. So like the 8 of Pentacles, where you're seeing, that apprenticeship card.
Oh my God. I got that twice yesterday when we were doing readings. And that just popped in my head when I was asking. I was like, that card keeps showing up a bunch.
For me, when I see that card, it is not telling me that, you're on the right track and you're working hard. Instead, it's saying to me, you are like an apprentice. You're a baby at this. You need to have a slice of humble pie and continue to work hard to get to the point that you can be, a big head about it. Where oftentimes I see it come up as like you're on the right track. You're doing so well. Keep working hard. Like, don't be too narrow-sighted, all that. And for me, it just like, have several seats, please. Yeah. Like, you are saying these things and you shouldn't be. You need to calm down, Robin.
You know what? No, I won't.
Actually, I won't. So mind your business.
Well, then I'm going to show you this tomorrow. Just
yeah. And every single day until you like learn a lesson.
I've had myself and then others like do a daily pull, especially with a big thing, which is probably just playing with fire. It's like, let's see how much of this burns. And it's literally like the same card over and over and over. And it's like, what don't you fucking get? Like, stop asking me and do the thing already.
Another one I can think of is the 2 of Cups. Oftentimes people, we've discussed this in my Patreon a lot, people will see that as kind of like a soulmate card, or like not even necessarily soulmate, but like, I mean, I don't really believe in one card being a soulmate card, but regardless, it comes up and they'll see it as potential for like a long-term relationship. It's like a really good match card, etc. Where I see it far more as like a party relationship card. I mean, you have 2 people with drinks in their hands, they're meeting up. Yes, there's going to be a union there, but like a one-night stand kind of a thing, not like something that's long-term. It's going to be something that's going to be, here for a fun time, not a long time.
So I can't change them is what you're saying.
Yeah, I just like, I mean, just enjoy it. And just enjoy it. That's
Yeah.
how I see it. And I like, people say things like, oh, well, that's the soulmate card. Like people who say the lovers are the soulmate card. I'm just like, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about, huh?
Just in
uh,
knowing what I know about the lovers card and reading about it, I'm like, this is not like, and it's
I think
come
it
up
can be depending
like,
on
yeah,
other
I
cards
guess.
around it. But yeah.
Now, do you like to
It's
do and this is again, all these questions I have is like they're very basic tarot questions because again, you're cherry popping tarot person.
things.
But like when you do like a spread for somebody, do you like to do like I always like to do the 3 card for myself, whether I'm
Mhm.
actually thinking past, present, future in that like
Right.
idea.
I typically pull 3 cards as well, but I don't typically pull it as like past, present, future,
Right.
situation, obstacle, advice, anything like that. They yes, there are great times at which that's necessary and amazing. But in like my day job, I typically pull the 3 as a like unit, and then we talk about what like that feels like, that what that means, etc.
Yeah, and I just like 3, so of course I'm gonna pull 3. But yeah, sometimes
Well,
it's
and I
like
also feel like for like kind of general understanding, because you have to remember like most tarot readings there is a question. Yes,
right.
there's loads of ones that are general, loads of them, and those are very valid in and of themselves, but most people have a question. And so I always feel like 3 is a good number where you're not getting overwhelmed with information, but you're getting enough information that you can adequately answer their question.
We're gonna do a 70 card pull real quick.
That's like my birthday spread. I use 3 tarot decks for my birthday every year,
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
literally like 54 cards or something like that. It's
What
huge.
I can't
My
even.
husband,
Oh my
my husband's
god.
always like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't mind me. I'm just doing the thing." It's very over the top and unnecessary, but it makes me feel good.
That's what matters.
And
And this is why I
on
need
my
a
birthday, that's what matters.
right. I don't think anybody asked you actually. So
It's really funny because I'm pretty sure that you're a Catholic who doesn't believe in any of this. So why don't you mind your business? How's that sound?
well,
I
I
didn't
just need
ask
to
you
walk
about the
around.
freaking Jesus crackers at church, so you don't need to ask me about what I'm doing here, okay?
Yeah. And if you ever want me to read Jesus's tarot, let me know. Let me know. I've got like 80 decks. I'll do it.
The one thing that I like to say to like razzle him up is, and I know that this is not how it is, but I'm also not wrong, is that I know in at least in Catholicism, because he's Catholic, is that you can't take communion without having spoken to the priest and like confessing your sins, right?
Uh-huh.
And so every single time that he goes to church, I say, "Did you say sorry to the priest so you could eat the Jesus cracker?" That's not what it means. I'm like, it feels like that's exactly what that means.
First off,
So
this charcuterie board is shit. There's
did you say
there's
sorry
no
to the priest so you could have the little cracker? You want your
yeah.
saltine? Was it yummy?
Did you atone? Oh my god, did you did you repent?
For the record, anybody listening to this who is Catholic, I don't actually feel this way about Catholicism. I just like to give him specifically a hard time.
Right. And it's all in fun and games. And if
Yes.
you feel bad,
It's
you
not in
probably
seriousness. I don't actually feel that way about it. Actually, I think Catholicism is probably one of the most occult things on the planet.
oh my god, it fucking is. I mean,
It's
besides for like
it's very metal.
yesterday and all the talk about tarot and the occult and churches
Mhm.
is the day after Easter, and we did the forecast and we read it in it's this Episcopal church not far from here, but when you're going there and back, it's very far. But I was like, this is one of, and I won't give the location, but I was like, it's an Episcopal church who are like the cool the cool Catholic aunt.
Okay.
I feel like Episcopals are like, okay, well, you know, we like gays enough. But as far as that
we're
goes,
down with the gays, but we
right.
still believe in hell. So do what
Yeah.
you will with that information.
I mean, you're gonna be flaming, you know what I mean? But like also, like
We love you.
yeah, love you. And I can't say one, it was a very beautiful church. And two, it's old, which helps.
Yeah.
And three, like I honestly can't say that I've ever felt more welcome at a place. And I didn't even talk to any motherfuckers. And I'm like taking pictures. I was
Yeah.
like, Jesus is in this picture. And usually I would be like, oh my God, why did I take a picture? But I'm like, and then we talked to Mortellus, and they're like, I do a lot of work in this graveyard and with this particular church, and they are they're very welcoming. And I mean, we're seeing stuff, and they're like, yeah, pagans in the area come here and leave offerings, and I get it. I'm like, oh my God, I've never wanted to like leave an offering at the foot of a Jesus statue before, but I kind of do now. So I don't like, I make make fun of it a lot. And that's, I feel like I can in a way, because I came from a very evangelical Baptist, like self-loathing kind of bullshit thing.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I don't hate those people. And I feel like I was like, you know, you can see those little inspirations and like the magic that they're working and the relationship they have with their deity at times.
Totally.
And it's not like, you know, as widespread, but at the same time, it's funny that you give shit to like, did you get your cracker?
Well, like, so I'm half Mexican. And so I grew up where one half of my family is incredibly devout Catholics. I was not raised that way myself. My parents believed more we should have an understanding of religion and God, but you know, something that would be something for us to decide for ourselves when we were adults. So in that respect, I actually I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive family that, you know, they know all about all my
yeah, that's amazing.
And
if you don't get indoctrinated,
I'm very blessed. Very blessed in that way. But like, we've got a Virgen de Guadalupe up in my house, like big and it's a very large statue. And so there are kind of overlaps, I think, in a lot of those ways. And I think that there is a very big discourse online where people say, oh, well, you can't be Christian, Catholic, whatever, and also be a pagan. And it's like, well, that's them ignoring like all folk magic.
Right.
And that's not, and that's kind of an ignorant take. And while I don't work with Catholic saints, I think it's okay to be able to poke fun at ourselves because there is so much overlap between the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what I like. I have a very
you gotta eat your saltine. That's, yeah. I mean, you said sorry.
And I feel like people I don't know that they actually take anything I say with any grain of salt or saltine, but I like when I shit on Christianity, I'm shitting on a very specific idea and southern thing like that I'm aware of, but I'm not canceling Christianity, but I'm also canceling like,
you've heard it here first, guys. I am
organized religion.
Tardwich is formally canceling all organized religion.
Good.
So jot that down.
It's official. And this bitch is Target, so you can't complain.
I'm literally in Target and Barnes and Noble. So who are you to say that I can't cancel all religion?
Go at me. And the funny thing is, like, it's weird because I can hate in the same episode, I can hate on like, this is what it's like being queer in the South and not being Christian, regardless of the people and the friends I have that are queer, gay, and still practice, like they're still Christian. And it's like, okay, but when I talk about, I don't understand how you can be both. It's that idea of like the evangelicalized, like hate mongering thing. Like, I will not give Chick-fil-A money. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not doing it because you
either, but that's because I'm vegan. Well, but also because of probably the gay thing as well. But yeah,
the gay thing too, but also like Jesus chicken is, you know, and but it's just funny.
Jesus chicken. Oh my God. But also Jesus chicken. So jot that down, guys. Are you taking notes?
White Jesus chicken, not just Jesus chicken. Like, I feel like Jesus probably is cool with Popeyes and all these other. It's like, it's fried chicken is delicious. I don't know why, but as far as that goes, like, I'm also not the person. I just sometimes I'm like, I don't understand. In the same episode, I'll say I don't understand how you can practice in the South and say you're a Christian and also practice witchcraft, but then in the same breath, I'll be like, you know, this Appalachian folk magic, like it really permeates You know, because you can use the
I
Psalms.
mean, although it's not technically witchcraft, things
Right,
like
it is.
hoodoo and conjure both incorporate the Bible heavily into their workings.
Right. And so
Um,
it's like I can't imagine separating the two in this region, but they would
mhm,
never call it witchcraft. Like again, that's another
right.
thing to get on. So yeah, I'm all over the place about it. If you think I hate Christianity and organized
He
religion, you're
does.
right. But I also think that it's very occulty and witchy and
It is. It's so occulty. Like they've got like I've gone to Christmas mass before. So I'm not trying to brag, but I have actually been to a church service before.
I don't want
And
to
they've
brag,
got
but I snuck a
but like
crack.
I'm not trying to brag, but I've like been to a church before. So once again, I am the best. But they've got like their incense and they've got their like all these phallic symbolisms everywhere, and it's very like occulty ritualistic, and like I don't think that's a conversation a lot of people are ready to have.
Are
But
you telling me that you don't get a little bit turned on when you see Jesus with those
I
abs?
get nothing but the biggest erection you've ever seen in your entire life. Simply the fact that you just said Jesus. I've actually finished 3 times.
And those people in church do it too, but they call it the Holy Spirit. But
Typo
actually,
negative Christian woman was actually written about me. So
right.
sure, I was 8, but I mean, I was a crazy kid. No, I wasn't. That's gross. Children don't do that. No, no, gross.
Yeah. But I think you know, this episode has been Catholicism from a pagan perspective by with Robin.
Please eat your crackers. Thank
Right.
you.
That's the next book is like how
My next book is actually called I Said Sorry to the Priest so I could eat my cracker.
right. And other times I got wet in church.
And oh god, and other times I made my ancestors cry.
Right. They'll be all right. They'll forgive me.
It's fine.
They're like, oh, did you know this bitch is in Target? Don't worry. I'm gonna
It's
keep
fine.
figuring it out because like
We're
at the
still
end
proud
the
of her
day-
though.
Right. Still proud. Like, you know who else's books are in Target? Oprah. So just saying.
So I'm basically Oprah is what I'm trying to say. So
Yes.
I wish I had even a fraction of her money. But I am basically Oprah. We're the same.
Right. Every Target I go into, I'll put your book beside the like Oprah's picks and shit. And
There we
it'll be like,
go.
wait, who is this?
I'm gonna
bitch?
start
And
my
it's like,
own magazine. It will just have my own face on it every time. It'll be perfect.
right. Tired Witch magazine. It comes out whenever I feel like, and
And it's got various pictures of me holding my cats.
yeah, because like the whole thing is like your blog is like naps and cats or black cats.
Yeah, black cats naps.
Floki's a black cat, and she finally is taking a nap and leaving me alone. But
Too.
she's like, "Are you
We have-
recording? I'm gonna bite you and rub on the mic and on the computer. Isn't this fun? I want people to know who I am. I'm your producer." But
we have 2 cats. We have Marceline and BMO.
oh
And
my god,
BMO is special needs. She's it's hard to explain, but I don't know if cats can have learning disabilities. But my cat definitely does, whatever that looks like for a cat. And I'm not like trying to be like a sarcastic jerk. Like she actually is like quite disabled. And then we have Marceline who thinks that this is her house and we're all just living in it. And she basically tears this house down every single time it's time for food. So their personalities pretty much fit their names perfectly.
yes, it's somewhat. Well, I don't know that BMO was special needs, but
no,
yes.
but she's as sweet tempered as BMO is on the TV
yes.
show.
And I don't know that dogs can be special needs, but I know my 2 dogs are. One is on
my BMO, she has like a physical deformity that we call her kangaroo legs because her hind legs are like exceptionally long, and then she has like a little tiny head. So she like physically does not have like the correct proportions of a normal cat, and then she's kind of blind. But we think it's like a depth perception thing. I don't know.
Do you like to post pictures of her on social media? I'm only asking because I'm currently looking.
Yes. I actually posted one on Instagram today of the two of them sleeping together, which was very sweet.
Oh, well, I can't really see the whole the small head perspective, but
yeah, because it's really close. That photo, so the one in the front is BMO, and so
I see the BMO
yeah,
little,
so that's why she looks like that. And then if you scroll down back
the little
to
green eye, like it's so
that's
beautiful.
BMO.
Oh,
That's
she's
BMO.
sweet.
And you see how like her eyes are really, really dilated?
Yeah.
They're always like that. So it causes her to like not be able to see properly. And it's like a whole thing. She's the only cat I've ever known who doesn't know how to jump. So like you have to like put her on the bed and then take her off of the bed, or she will just face plant.
And this one is her doing the little blep with her tongue. I love it.
Yep, that's BMO.
So if you're listening to this at this point, this is interactive podcasting.
Everybody should go to my Instagram and just skip all the other shit and go directly to my cats.
Yeah, like it, follow, and also like
so sweet.
Save it and send it because algorithm.
Yeah. And if you look actually in that photo where she's got her tongue out, you can see how her eyes are like wonky.
Yes.
Like they, you know what I mean? So it's hard to explain, but she is disabled, and
I love her.
The vets basically said, well, she's happy, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, okay, fair enough.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time, it's like, well, there's something
wrong, but they're happy. So
but they're happy. But I'm just kidding because I'm not ever happy. No, I'm that's why I'm on medication. But
whole mood.
I guess we're coming on an hour, which is weird because I did not expect to get into like Catholic boners, but that's fine.
And yet, listen, I showed up, so I was gonna bring up Catholic boners at least once.
Right. You told me I could talk about whatever I wanted, and here I am.
You said I could do whatever I wanted, so of course we're gonna talk about Jesus erections. Let's go.
Right. And I've changed the whole subject. It's like Jesus erections with a side of tarot. At Target today.
Esoteric symbolism within tarot and how that relates directly to Jesus's fat erection.
I was trying to think like, well, this is your full card is that you've been sleeping on this. This is full thick dicked Jesus.
Jesus was a power bottom. Did you know that?
You know what? I felt it in my heart.
We all did.
We all did. I mean, he just kind of let it happen, but he's like, whatever.
He can
but
take
at the same time, I feel like
a
little, he'll let you call him. He'll call you daddy.
Yeah.
But before we get more canceled, I feel like
honestly, if this is what cancels me, I'm okay with that.
I know, me too. And I'm not even canceled because I look at Twitter and I'm like, oh, and then I try to do stuff on Twitter and I'm like, I give up. I don't do anything on here except try to promote it. And then I reply to people's stuff and share as like the podcast. I'm gonna
post that on Twitter right now that Jesus was a power bottom.
Yeah, that should be the tagline. Jesus is the title is power bottom Jesus. What you didn't know about tarot may concern you. But so I think we're in an hour. If people want to find you, I'll put your link tree in the description below. But also dump your shit right here.
I'm at a tired witch on everything but Twitter. Twitter, don't follow me on there. That's what a cesspool.
Right. I'm just looking at the thing you tagged me in and I'm gonna retweet
I literally just tweeted that Jesus is a power bottom. Like that's the content that you can expect from my Twitter. In which case that is tired X witch. Because a tired witch was already taken. Very rude.
Please, if you're listening to this, and I know you're not, give it up so that Robin can have it.
Literally, if you don't, I'll cry forever. And that's not something we want because I am a Cancer. I cry really well. So
spoiler alert, I'm already crying all the time.
I've been crying since 1993. Okay. That was not when I was born. That was just when I started crying. But I'm a tired witch. I'm not a happy baby. I wasn't. I look like my dad. Trust me, you would not have been happy either. I'm just kidding, Dad. I love you. Because he actually does listen to every single thing I've been on. So sorry, Dad.
You take it in stride.
I am a tired witch on everything except for Twitter, like I said, and my blog is tiredwitch.com, and my shop is shop.tiredwitch.com, and my book is Magical Tarot. And if you're going to pre-order it, which you freaking should, I know that we've been talking about Target, but actually pre-order on Amazon, because even though it's the devil, it helps me overall with the algorithm. So
yeah, we can't help the society we live in, but you know,
I hate it so much, but the only way to be successful, unfortunately, is to play Bezos' game. So
I don't want to use fossil fuels, but right now I kind of have to. But you know, it's a necessary evil in a sense. But yeah, don't worry about Target. Leave reviews, rate and review, and like tell all the good stuff. Don't go hating on the shit we got into.
Don't. But if you're gonna hate, if you're gonna leave me a bad review, just make sure to say that it was because of the saltines, the Jesus saltines, because then I can accept that negative review. You know what I mean? I'll accept that.
And I feel like when you die and you're judged and like you're at the heaven's gate because we fucked it all up, and they're like, "Hey, that thing you said about the saltines, pretty fucking funny. I want her in here."
That's how I got into heaven. Actually, it was a hilarious story between me and the Saint Peter.
Right. You know what? You're not gonna like the language on this one, but hilarious. She'll have you rolling.
It's good.
Also, I think she kind of has a thing for you. You know what I mean? So like,
it's fine. Like, listen, here's the thing, Jesus. You and those luscious brown eyes, it gets me every time.
You know my husband. You know him. You know him.
You guys are super cool. And also my grandma prays for me like 3 times a week, so surely that balances shit out.
Right. She's lovely. Yeah, but if Jesus ever had that big of a stick up his ass, like not the one he's,
not the power bottom stick, to confirm.
But yeah, it's like obviously he would have a sense of humor. I hope so, because I hope the devil does too, because I feel like that would be fun.
Everybody listening is just like, what in the fuck is going on?
That is not why I subscribe to this. I thought you were talking about Hecate and ghosts. And it's
incorrect. We're talking about wrong. Jesus and all of the sweet rods he takes.
Yeah,
and also his little crackers
and terror appropriation. We covered it all. We caught it all.
We've covered it all.
Yeah, you're not on TikTok. We know this. You're here. You're listening.
I am on TikTok.
Well, I know you are, but the people listening to this,
I am on TikTok. I wish I wasn't, but I am on TikTok.
So is Hex Files. Cursed isn't, because I don't really have a good reason to be, but I am personally.
TikTok. That would be a whole nother hour segment. What a situation that website is.
But real quick, if you've got like another, we'll say goodbye here, and then if you want to tell your weird story, which that was weird enough.
Which one? Okay, so then you get a pick, because I have a lot of weird stories. Do you want a ghost story? Do you want a maybe alien story?
I kind of want that maybe alien story.
Okay, I can tell you my maybe alien story.
Okay, well,
so
from I guess check her out. And this has been Cursed. Goodbye. And if you want to hear this maybe alien story,
it's a maybe alien story.
Maybe alien. It's probably Jesus. But go to our
It was
Patreon.
Probably Jesus.
Yeah. Go to the Patreon. It'll be up next week after you listen to this. And go pre-order the book and shit. And I'm so glad you were on. I'm glad you came.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks to everybody who listened and tolerated my Catholicism rant.
It's
Sorry.
so funny, because I'm like, I'm gonna have you on, and I really don't even know where to start except to ask basic questions about tarot, and here we are. It's already happened.
Here we are. And then I once again sabotaged everything talking about saltine crackers. So
right,
if that's not a metaphor for who I am as a person, I don't know what is.
I mean, I think the whole point of doing interviews is like letting people get the idea of like the kind of person you are, and I feel like you did that. And
thanks.
That's the best we can hope for. So until next time, goodbye, but not really.
Bye.
Okay.